Hey everyone, this is a special episode of Ross's Game Dungeon. This episode is going to be a full playthrough of the game as part of the review. I have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm going to talk about things a little out of order so I can keep up. Okay, here's the intro. Quiet!
Trees are bare. Walk through the cemetery if you dare, where skeletons rot and corpses fester. Locate the tomb with the skull of a jester. Feed him the token all shiny and new. It is then that CarnEvil will return for you.
A friend of mine said that this is an oddly specific rhyme for just being some folklore. Okay, I'm gonna shut up for parts of this. This is a good intro.
Spooky Sam, welcoming you along on Spooky Sam's Ghost Tour. On your left, you'll see the tomb of Ludwig von Token Taker, where the legend of Greeley Valley all got started. You all know the legend of Greeley Valley.
I would love to have a coin minute that looks like this. I'd like my retirement to be something like this. People just wander into my park of madness and I watch them run around. Welcome to CarnEvil! Okay, is that intro not enough to explain why this is the Halloween episode? Welcome to CarnEvil. This is an arcade rail shooter, and I'm gonna take you through it. So if your idea of fun is listening to me not shut up for half an hour while you see freaks galore, you are in for a treat. Okay, let me get out some quarters. Now this is one of those games that needs 2 quarters to play. I guess that's the price you pay for light guns. But that's no problem. Surely I can beat this game on 2 quarters or $1, right? Oh, and I should mention, this game is really violent. So if you're squeamish about that, now's your last chance to back out.
Welcome to the haunted house.
I love this jester.
Fool who lost her head. If you'd like to stay and join us, you're always welcome, alive or dead.
All right, here we go. Ah! Okay, we are mere seconds into the game, and is this not already the perfect Halloween game? For me, this game really carries the Halloween spirit in it. Because there's all kinds of scary games out there, but not so many that possess this kind of fun, wacky, happy-go-lucky atmosphere along with your scares. This game feels like a scary carnival ride. When I first saw this game, I almost kind of forgot it, because my brain was too in shock to process this properly. This game struck me as so amazing that it felt to me like it wasn't possible for a game this awesome to exist. Hey, down in front! Plus, it was an arcade machine, so I knew I wouldn't have enough quarters to beat it or own a copy, so I think my brain just suppressed the memories as a defense mechanism. I'm serious. For a while I just forgot about it, but then it came back in a big way later. Uh-oh. Okay, this is the first part of the game where they're basically saying, enough playing around. You had your fun, time to cough up some more quarters. I mean, it's Jason on steroids with a chain gun for an arm. Jason on fire, which only seems to be pissing him off more than anything. Oh wow, I actually survived that. That wasn't supposed to happen, I can tell you that. Yeah, see, now I have easy guys because I was meant to die and stuff more quarters inside. So this is to make me think it's worth it. You may want to pause the video here to take a look at those portraits. I'd love to have some art like that hanging up. Oh no! I'll save you! Or not? Did I shoot her? I might need an instant replay on that one for the courts. Ah, there we go. Okay, that's 50 cents down. I'm going to put in another $1. If you want, help keep track of how much money I actually need to beat this game. And I have a confession. You've probably figured it out by now, but I do not actually own an arcade cabinet of CarnEvil. Though that would be pretty baller if I did, if I had some carnies come visit me. I'm just running an emulator, and I'm using a mouse instead of a light gun. I know some of you have strong feelings about that, so if you feel like you need to call the police, I guess that's an assumed risk on my part. Midway, the company that published this, has been bankrupt for a few years, and I'm not even sure who owns the rights to this now, but I think it's pretty safely in the abandonware realm. This does bring up an interesting point about piracy though, because when people pirate, some people will do it even if they can afford the game just to save money on it. And that does mean lost sales for the developer. Though that's not the case for everyone. Some people will just flat out never buy the game. Oh, you again! I did a check on eBay, and the cheapest I found for a copy of CarnEvil is $700. But most were priced around $1,500 to $1,700. That's about what, 10 to 15% of my annual income? There is no way I can afford that. So this is not exactly a lost sale for me. More importantly, the developer's not even selling it anymore. But let's say I did have the money and space in my apartment for a 300-pound arcade cabinet. Would I really get one? Ah! Because while it's a blast to play, there's a difference between loading this up on an emulator versus having an arcade cabinet in your living room. I would have to explain that to any friends or family who visited. Oh, this is a rough shot. I think this woman might be screwed. Yeah, she's gone. She's the spider's girlfriend now. I couldn't save her. I'm only one man with unlimited ammo. But yeah, trying to explain why I have CarnEvil in my living room would get awkward. People I know would start wondering if I'm just trapped in some fantasy delusion and I'm turning into Michael Jackson, trying to create my own little Neverland ranch. And I wouldn't blame them, because getting an actual arcade cabinet is a bigger step towards that. Whereas you just don't have that level of stigma for an emulated version. Nobody even has to know I have it. I just have a computer. It's hidden inside that. After all, this is Ross's game Dungeon, not Ross's game Foyer, or Foyer. It doesn't matter which version I say. Someone will claim I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Okay, this is the first boss fight. I have some things to say about this. I don't like this fight. I guess the first thing is I generally don't like seeing violence against women, including video games, even against Undead Mary Antoinette here. I'm sure everyone's gonna draw their own conclusions about that and play armchair psychologist on me, but I think it's just a primal way of thinking for me. Women are physically weaker than men on average, so the caveman part of my brain goes, oh, danger, me protect. So having to pull a trigger repeatedly on one goes against my instincts. Plus, if I saw a goth-looking woman in Baroque clothing coming at me, my first impulse would not be to gun her down. I don't shy away from crazy women. Now, if she was coming at me with a knife, I would either just leave or try to disarm her. What you do is try to grab her wrist and bend it away from her, or smack the weapon out of her hand if you have something you're holding. That's a free tip for anyone dating a woman trying to kill you. Okay, that's another $1. Oh, and the other thing I don't like is how they've hypersexualized her along with all the violence. I mean, what's the message here, guys? Yeah, that's what I thought. Although actually from a technical perspective, that impalement is pretty impressive because only the enemies are 3D. The background is all just a movie clip, but they make the interaction between the two pretty seamless. So in other words, that spike isn't really there. Actually, I want to talk some more about the graphics, but we've got a new stage coming up. Now, while we can choose which order to play them in, I'm going to get the worst stage out of the way next. This next stage is easily the worst part by far, and drags down what an otherwise fantastic experience this game is. Can you guess which one it is? Yep, that one. Now, why is this stage so bad? You'll see. My buddy.
What goes up must come down. Now you're headed for Rickety Town.
Rickety?
Ride all the rides, have some fun, then eat your heart out on a sesame seed bun.
That jester is deliciously evil. Okay, so what's wrong with this picture? Remember, this is a great Halloween game. Listen to this music. You know what reminds me of Halloween? Candy canes, presents, Christmas lights, fucking elves. Actually, shooting elves in the face is kind of cool. But what the hell is going on here? They're trying to shoehorn in Christmas. Why would they do that? This isn't even a strictly Halloween game. You can play creepy games all year. They're just especially well suited for Halloween. But Christmas, that's completely seasonal and is the polar opposite theme-wise. Did you know that this game actually has some lore to go with it? I was looking it up for this review. They give it a backstory, names and descriptions of all the enemies, everything you would expect from a decent manual for a game. It makes me wonder how that information was distributed. I guess owners of the machine had a flyer to go with it, even if players almost never saw it. Anyway, the point is that in the game backstory, it says this takes place in late October. Fucking Spooky Sam at the beginning is giving ghost tours. When do people do that sort of thing? In October, you assholes! Why are they doing this? I'm frustrated because if this was a bad game, I wouldn't care. Oh, they made a stupid decision. It's a bad game. What do you expect? But no, this is not a bad game. This is an awful decision in the middle of a great game. You guys saw the haunted house level. That was gold. And the rest of the game is more or less like that. I've actually only played through this game once before now. I gave you part of my story about this game earlier. Now you're gonna get the other half. Okay, so I saw this game in an arcade in the late 90s, suppressed the memories, and forgot about it. Flash forward a few years later, and I was at the first job I had after moving away from home. I worked at a call center doing DSL tech support for Bell South. Actually, I was at a company that Bell South subcontracted to do their tech support, because everyone wants to hear this. Anyway, the first day I was supposed to show up, I had an orientation of the place, and lo and behold, in the lunch break room was a CarnEvil arcade cabinet set on free play mode. Wow. I had forgotten about it, but there it was. It's like the fates were aligning. All I did was watch someone else play it. I didn't have time that day to do it myself, but I was going to. After all, this was my new job. Well, the next day at work, they were wheeling the machine out of there because some of the other employees were complaining about it, and I never got to play it. They ended up replacing it with some golfing game. All this did was reinforce my attitude that this game can't possibly be real. A game this awesome just can't exist in this world. Because hey, I love carnivals. They're fun, weird, a little scary. I mean, it's nailing almost all my interest right there. So a horror game that combined the best of that was just overload for me. So I was disappointed it was gone, but damn it, I didn't completely forget it after that. Some years later, Midway went bankrupt, so I thought I might look into the emulation option. But it seemed like extra work, and I wasn't sure it could run a game this advanced anyway. Then last year around Halloween, I realized, oh my god, this game is starting to get obscure. See, that's the face of death right there. So I thought if I didn't find a copy of this game, it could disappear forever. Or at least that's how I was thinking, because it's way too big to host on an abandonware site. But I tracked it down, got it working, played it once, it was incredible, and here I am right now. I actually accelerated production of the Game Dungeon this month because I wanted to make sure I would cover this game for Halloween. It had to be the Halloween episode, and I couldn't take the thought of having to put CarnEvil off another year. But Jesus Christ, if this isn't the worst part of the game. Oh what, you thought we were done with Christmas? Oh no. See, what's happening now is the game's way of telling me that it wants me to keep bitching about it some more. So I will! My theory as to how this happened is someone on the development team was obsessed with the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know some people will be shocked, but I don't like that movie. I mean, I like the whole spooky style and the way it started off, but then they try to force that into a Christmas movie. It just doesn't work for me. So because this game turned into a fucking Christmas movie, guess who the boss is? Yeah, Krampus. To be fair, the folklore of Krampus is pretty hardcore, but again, this bait and switch pisses me off. They promised me a Halloween game and they're giving me Christmas. They just don't go together. They want to add ice cream to my pizza, or bacon to ice cream. Yeah, I'm dead. Now I'm putting $2 into this game because I want to get this level over with. Oh, and that bacon sundae is totally real. It's not some Photoshop I did. Burger King at its finest. And for those of you who are looking at that and licking your lips, you both fascinate me and terrify me. Yeah, so more of this winter wonderland, huh? The thing is, it's not even that horror and Christmas can't go together. If you're a horror fan, the movie Black Christmas is very good. The 70s one, the remake is crap. You know, Halloween is my favorite holiday, and the only reason I'm plotting through this heresy is because the rest of this game rocks. You know what the worst part about doing tech support on the phone is? Oh, good, he's dead. Because you probably think it's the dumb callers. No, not even close. They weren't that bad. The worst part is being timed to the second on every single thing you do. You can't space out for a minute at that job. They're timing you. You can't take too long on the call even though they need help. They're timing you. It's horrible. So right now, I want to dedicate this episode to anyone who works on the phones. I feel your pain. And speaking of pain, we are done with that stage. Now it's on to the good stuff. In my opinion, this game is nothing but good from here on out. My pal.
The freak show. See the strange and bizarre.
Yeah.
Step right up. We'd love to see you. We think you could be the star.
You know, the way he delivered those last lines reminds me a lot of a friend of mine. When he would get excited about something, he would talk like that. Like he was a happy goblin or something. I remember him talking about building a potato cannon, and he had that exact same tone, I swear. And on that note, some of the voice acting in this game is really good. I love the gestures, of course. Umlaut. That actor sure earned his pay. I got shivers listening to that "Eat Your Heart Out" line. I liked it so much. And what do you think of these guys? They sound just like Goofy. I find this part so hilarious. The Goofy voice. It makes me imagine some dark comedy where Goofy is running around as a serial killer. Oh no, my knife slipped there. Whoa, looks like you got stabbed there, silly me. Whoa, there goes another knife. They could make half the game consist of Goofy knockoff characters trying to kill people. I would be laughing the whole time. My sense of humor is kind of dark. Boy, these maggots are creepy, huh? You'll have nice dreams tonight. I like some of the exhibits here. World's biggest shoe. Ancient mystery skull of time, maybe. 80-pound flea. That would be terrifying. Also, we passed one on the way in called Thing in a Bottle. Okay, this is a review, isn't it? Let's talk about the music. If you've ever seen a Tim Burton movie, you've heard half the music in this game. It's kind of a... Oh. I shot the woman in distress. That's not something I wanted to do. Oh well. What happens in the Freak Show Monkey Silo stays in the Freak Show Monkey Silo. So anyway, I would describe the music here as very competent. Most of it fits the arcade carnival atmosphere exactly, but not much of it is especially memorable. There is one track that kind of stood out for me from the others, though. I'll play it during the credits. I think I should aim for the eyes. Also, while I don't like the Christmas music in this game, I don't think that was the composer's fault. I think he was just following orders. So we don't need to bring charges up on him when we hold our own Nuremberg trials on this game for crimes against Halloween. So the music in this game gets a solid B from me. You know, in the first episode, I joked about this not being an S&M dungeon, and yet here we are. Man, there's an awful lot of blonde women in distress with a certain look to them in this game. It makes me wonder if this cemetery wasn't right next to a Hooters across the street. I bet all these women are waitresses. Oh, come on, he's off the screen. This is dark. I'll put him out of his misery. This may sound weird since I am a big horror fan, but I actually don't like torture scenes. Although I think the threat of torture can actually be used in a comical way. but you really have to know what you're doing. That's like unstable explosives. It's easy for things to go really wrong. Well, now's as good a time as any to talk about the graphics. I feel like they made excellent use of what they were working with for this game. Again, only the characters are in 3D. The background is all pre-rendered video, but it's very seamless. Believe it or not, the resolution on this game isn't much higher than the DOS games I've covered. It renders natively at 400 by 256 pixels, but stretches it afterwards. And while I'm on the topic, some of you may be upset this isn't in the original 4:3 ratio this game came out on. Well, here's the deal with that. A lot of old games displayed on 4:3 ratio monitors, but oddly enough, a lot of the art isn't always consistent with that. Sometimes it looks stretched, sometimes it looks perfect on different objects in the same game. It's a grab bag. So in this show, I'm just going to stretch the image to what I think looks best overall, even if that's not historically accurate. Okay, this boss is a modification I made. Normally this boss is a giant baby you have to gun down, but the arcade machine contained what's called a dip switch in order to change values on some things. In this case, it turns the baby into a mangled teddy bear instead. Given the choice, I'd rather kill walking teddy bears than babies, and they gave me the choice. A few of you are probably thinking,
Ross, you're a pansy. You don't like killing women, killing babies, torturing people. What kind of man are you?
well, all I can say is I'm very honest on this show. Unless I'm bullshitting you, of course. Actually, I do like rampant violence involving teddy bears. Mascots, too. This is probably the best boss fight in the game. You can't go wrong having a giant monster chase you as your boss fight. Okay, so a little more on the graphics. Part of this game's draw was that it used 3D accelerated graphics. It used hardware by the company 3DFX, which made some of the most powerful video cards at the time. Though 3DFX also went bankrupt a few years later. Wait a minute, so that's Midway that went bankrupt, 3DFX that went bankrupt, and arcade machines are mostly dead now too. Man, this game is the harbinger of death. Are the people who worked on it still alive? I didn't check that. I wonder if you get cursed just by playing it. Well, if so, it's too late for me. And if you're still watching this, you're probably too far in already to break the curse, so you may as well finish it. Hey!
You've made it to our main attraction, the three-ring circus in the big top tent. We hope our clowns will entertain you before making you the main event.
Okay, this is the point in the video where I'm guessing some people are gonna have to turn it off. If you have a phobia of clowns, I don't think you're gonna be able to make it past this part, because there are a lot of clowns coming. I actually like clowns, but I admit, part of their appeal to me is that they scare the living hell out of some people, which I find hilarious. You know, it's just some guy dressed up silly, acting goofy, dancing around, and apparently striking terror into the hearts of others. Hey, these mimes aren't attacking me. The game just assumes everyone is going to automatically gun down all mimes. They don't even need to make an attack. Well, I need to progress. Or do I? You know, in the last video, I left a hint that a clown was going to get shot, and I looked at the comments, and one person successfully guessed which game this is gonna be. Well, I think that's a problem, because why are there so few evil CarnEvil games that he could guess it right away? I mean, there are some, but not many that dive in the way this one does. Yeah, see, the clowns you have to shoot. They don't joke around. I mean, how many games are there with evil CarnEvils? Let's name them off. Painkiller Battle Out of Hell, Silent Hill 3, sort of. I almost forgot this is an arcade game. Okay, I'm stuffing $2 into this. Try to remember this animation over and over again when you go to sleep tonight. So what else? Left 4 Dead 2, sort of. Sanitarium, sort of. I haven't played them, but I've heard of I'll Bleed and Bad Day on the Midway. I think there was some Find the Item adventure game that had one. Those are all the ones I can think of. I'm probably missing a couple, but that's too short a list for me. I want there to be as many games about evil CarnEvils as there are about fighting aliens. Or World War II. I think if you're gonna shoot a dog in a game, poodles and chihuahuas are probably top of the list for most people. Okay, so one commenter guessed correctly that this would be CarnEvil. Then a glorious thing happened. Another commenter replied and said, no, Ross won't do that because he only covers old DOS games, even though I never said that. And he convinced the first guy he was wrong. What a metaphor for the internet. I've seen misinformation spread so fast before, even when the real truth is in plain sight. It is incredible. I mean, this should go without saying, but since it didn't, don't ever trust common knowledge on the internet, all right? So here, I'll set the record straight now. I'm mostly going to cover PC games, and I'll be inclined towards being stabbed with a trident by a flying Mexican werewolf thing. I mean, obscure games. Oh, and while I'm setting things straight, since I sort of cut myself off earlier, I am not saying it's okay to pirate a game if you can't afford it. Don't do that. If you can't, be like me. Play lots of abandonware or games that are serious budget bin material. And if you have to play the newest stuff, well, you're being suckered by the marketing. What can I say? I have never spent more than $20 on a game in my life. I'm a cheap-ass gamer. My buying habits are not driving the industry. But yeah, on piracy, I'm not blanket endorsing it. I think it does a lot of harm on new games and a lot of good for really old games. I sometimes wish there could be compromises where the pirates wouldn't touch a new game for months or years, and in return, some game companies could just not be evil. But I know that's all a fantasy. I think the bottom line is the game industry has lots of problems, and piracy is just one of them. I love this part. All the wacky, screaming clown doctors swinging around bone saws and syringes, and the "we need your brain" sign because they have a gorilla prepped, so they want to put your brain inside the gorillas. I love this stuff. There's probably a healthcare joke in here somewhere, but it's not jumping out at me. I was thinking in the ring it would be great if they had ringmasters announcing your death. And over here we have a slack-jawed rube that we will eviscerate for your amusement! Then a big crowd cheer.
Welcome aboard. From this study, I have observed your every move, but you do not obey. Prepare to die.
Okay, guys, what do you think? Could that be a French accent he's doing? Umlaut! Now here's a question. This game is set in a fictional town in Iowa. If this was actually real, would this be the most interesting thing that's ever happened in Iowa? I mean, I may be just ignorant, but the stereotype for a lot of Midwestern states is not a lot happens. But see, in Ohio, for example, the Cuyahoga River caught on fire before. I think that's pretty interesting. So what is Iowa's claim to fame? Rather, what's the most interesting thing that's ever happened there? Another thing I like about this game is how upfront it is with you. Besides the Christmas section, that's still bullshit. But the name of the villain here is Baron von Tokentaker. They tell you at the beginning. With a name like that, you know you're going to be coughing up quarters in this game. The game knows it, and you know it. It's a very honest relationship. Okay, pretend this game had been a runaway success. Spawned sequels, home games, a movie, and so on. Do you think at some point Midway would try to build a Zeppelin of their own that looked like this? I'm wondering how much money a company needs to be swimming in before they do really outlandish things in association with the game. Like, I know Electronic Arts shot copies of one of the Mass Effect games into space. That takes some doing. Still, it would be hard to top a Zeppelin. I bet if they wanted to, Blizzard could pay off enough senators to be able to carve an orc face into Mount Rushmore. Is that an actual aerial photo of Iowa? Man, this guy takes a lot of hits. Has anyone been counting? Auf Wiedersehen, huh? Okay. Nice cinematics. I mean, this is what rail shooters are about, having this kind of roller coaster effect. Dummkopf, alright. That's some interesting German for somebody with an almost comically thick French accent earlier. Maybe Midway thought France and Germany were basically the same thing. You know, Europe. I can't think of many I've played myself, but I've heard a lot of modern first-person shooters are super restrictive and just guide you along a narrow path. If that's true, I'm wondering if those designers would rather just make a rail shooter, but don't want to because of the stigma, like that's beneath them. Hey, didn't I save you already? Okay, another 50 cents. We're getting close. Oh, and hey, here's a spoiler. The ending to this game does not suck. Oh, that's the shortest life so far. They want your money bad. And sorry if I'm ruining the tension with all this talking. If this was your last 50 cents in the arcade, it would be very tense. Like if you died now, you might yell at a kid watching you to keep pressing the start button to keep the countdown resetting, and then just go and mug the first kid you saw for another 50 cents. And you wouldn't care either, because you'd figure you'd have just enough time to beat the game before the kid you mugged started ratting on you and brought security or police over to come get you. So you immediately haul ass out of the arcade afterwards. You don't get that same experience playing at home. And look at that ending. That is how you beat a boss. This is actually how all games should end.
Yeah.
And the rest of this is unlike any other ending I've ever seen. Man, I want a sculpture like that.
What's going on? No!
How awesome an ending is that? You escape from hell on earth, the Hooters waitress is screaming at you to stop, so you just head back there again for no reason. Bad ass. 3,500 shots fired. Anyone want to figure out how much that would have cost me in real world ammo? And hey, how many quarters did I spend? I wasn't counting. Well, that's CarnEvil. What have we learned here? That when you run off to go join the circus, it changes things. Okay, that's all. Happy Halloween, everyone. Or if you're watching this after Halloween, it's more of a state of mind anyway. Especially when you hide in the bushes at night wearing a costume and jump out at people. Every night is Halloween then. Auf Wiedersehen. I still don't speak German. This would make a sweet tattoo.